We will be getting a large delivery, hopefully this week.
We're two hitchhikers. We met while hiking Mount Baldy with mutual friends, wasted no time, got engaged on a frozen alpine lake, got hitched, and have been adventuring together since. We're embarking on a new adventure of living big in a tiny home. Let's see how this goes.
Adventure awaits.
Little frosty this morning.
Just a little bit, you know. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're going to, okay, that's frozen. You're gonna close this. All right, that's frozen too.
So wait till the sun thaws it out.
Yeah.
Till the sun thaws it out.
Yeah. So you're gonna open this so it's gonna spray the water out from here. You're gonna close this so that no water goes into the tank. All of the rust and iron that is still in our pipes is gonna blow out from here after about 15 to 20 minutes.
Then fill up the cistern.
Then you're gonna fill the cistern with cleaner water.
Copy.
Okay, well, it thawed out. We're at about 50 degrees now, so I've been able to run the irrigation lines. This is what Ruben wanted me to run prior to filling up the cistern. So now I'm gonna turn the ball valves off on this one and then on the one for the tank. So as you can see here, it's relatively clear. You can't really see any sediment compared to last time. And that is why he wanted me to run the irrigation line for about 15 minutes. That way we could flush out the lines prior to filling this up, and then this doing its job without as much hassle. So this should take about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll be good to go. And we still haven't gotten any snow. We had quite a bit of rain there for a few weeks, but more recently we've just been pretty chilly at night in the low 20s and high teens. So we get a beautiful frost when we wake up every single morning, and then the skies clear up and we get sunny 40s and 50s in the daytime. So everything kind of thinks spring is springing around here. So we're getting a lot of these cool mushrooms. Now that also means that the frost has to melt, which means we do get mud. So there's this sweet spot of when we can get things done around the property without having to deal with too much mud. I think I found it right here.
So I know it's probably hard to tell at this point, but a lot of this grass was dead and grown up 18 inches to about 24 inches. So we're trying to clear it out. That way in the areas that we want to encourage the grass to grow, it will grow. But we're also trying to actually prep this whole area here because we do have plans to plant stuff here. So we will be getting a large delivery, hopefully this week, of some bark which has been ground down, and it's basically sawdust at this point. We're trying to build the soil here, and then we'll also probably bring in some dirt depending on how that looks, but trying to get this as low as possible. And my safety glasses are fogging up because the weather is warming up. It was 22 degrees I think this morning, and now feels like it's about 40. I feel like I'm overdressed at this point. Anyway, we are trying to build up this area. So we may have to till this. We really don't want to, but this orchard grass has just created these giant tufts, and I don't know that we can do this manually. We could backfill it, try to do all that, but it just won't be level. So we're just trying to kind of feel this out and see which direction we're going to go. But now is the time to prep this. It is actually a little bit late. We should have done this in the fall, but we still have some winter months ahead of us. So hopefully that will get us in the right spot for when we actually start planting here.
and Ruben was actually able to break away to join in on the first haul of our bark dust.
That'd have been bad.
Ruben was able to get the tractor from our neighbor, so we don't have to move this bark dust around by hand today, which is amazing because that was going to be a lot of wheelbarrowing and raking. So the tractor will be able to do the majority of the work. We are expecting another full load of this bark dust, so we're going to be able to cover hopefully the majority of this, and then we're going to bring in some dirt, and then we'll be in a better spot to be able to plant what we want to plant here. Now each of these truckloads holds about 16 yards. Our trailer can hold about 4 at best, so this saved me at least 8 trips to go pick this up on my own, let alone the manual shoveling and wheelbarrowing just to dump it right here. So mind you, this is still breaking down, so there will be plenty of nitrogen in here to kill the grass that's underneath. The idea is that in time this will break down and incorporate into our native dirt. Round 2?
Round 2.
Well, we covered roughly 4,000 square feet here, and initially I went through with the weed whacker to try and get that grass cut down as low as possible. That way, now that we introduce this bark dust, we don't have a lot of grass sticking up, because our idea is to not just kind of suffocate the grass underneath. It sounds terrible, I know. We also don't want the blades of grass to be able to reach the sun. We're trying to kill everything underneath, including that clover I planted in the fall. All of that will just help the soil once it starts to break down. And there is a lot of nitrogen in this. So yes, some nitrogen is good, but too much nitrogen it's imbalanced. Just like us, if we take any one vitamin, an excess of anything is bad for us. We need the proper balance of everything. And it's the same thing with soil and plants. So the point here is to try and get this to break down, incorporate into our native soil. This bark dust is from a local sawmill, and the bark is from trees from our local area. So as much as we'd like to use only our dirt has a lot of clay in it. And that is very tough for things to grow outside of grass and weeds, which it will eventually take care of itself, but we don't want to wait 15 years. We're trying to encourage it to go on a little faster without introducing synthetic materials. Anyway, with that being said, our soil needs a little help. We don't want to add sand to our clay, because that would basically create cement and then nothing would grow here. So we're hoping this breakdown of things will help. Now, we do have to be aware of our winds, because this is bark dust and it's not as fine as sawdust is, but if this totally dries out and we get a big windstorm, then we can lose a lot of this material. So there are quite a few ways of going about what to do for the next step. But because of the wind and because we want the grass to die, we're likely looking at getting some weed fabric cloth to put over all of this. That way it'll keep the bark dust in place and then help to suppress any weeds from growing or taking root if the wind does blow. That's the case. We'll let it sit for a couple of months, and then we'll move on to the next step of possibly getting some wood chips or bark chips and then planting what we want to. So we have a little time to decide what we want to do, but not too much time. Otherwise, then we have to wait a whole nother year. So if you've done this before or you have any ideas, please let us know. Of course, if you've done it on this scale, we've gone down the whole YouTube rabbit hole, searching online, and there are so many ways in which we could go, but we're always open to hearing what people have to say. So let us know your thoughts. And I'm sure you noticed, but there are some deer prints all throughout here. They're probably wondering, what in the world is going on here? What happened to our clover? And in taking little Ray out here, she also decided to mark her territory. World's largest litter box.
Well, family, that wraps up the update for this week. Even though things look a little zigzaggy, we're still making progress. So check back next week to see what we get done around here. As always, we really appreciate you following along on here. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.